I want you to transport yourself to the high desert of New Mexico. The date is July 3rd, 1947. A massive thunderstorm is raging over Lincoln County. Lightning strikes the ground every few seconds. Amidst the thunder, a rancher named Mac Brazel hears a sound that is different. It isn't thunder. It sounds like an explosion, a crash, something hitting the earth with tremendous force. The next morning, Brazel rides his horse out to check his sheep. About 75 miles north of the town of Roswell, he finds a debris field. It is massive. It stretches for 3/4 of a mile. The ground is covered in strange material. He picks it up. It looks like foil, but it is tough. It is incredibly light. He can crumple it into a ball in his fist, but when he opens his hand, the material uncrumples itself. It flows back into its original shape perfectly, without a single wrinkle. He tries to cut it with his knife. He can't. He tries to burn it with a lighter. He can't. There are also strange I-beams, small, lightweight sticks that look like balsa wood, but they have strange purple hieroglyphs written on them. They look like symbols. They don't look like English letters. Brazel knows this isn't normal trash. He drags some of the wreckage to his truck and drives into town. He walks into the sheriff's office and whispers, "I think I found a flying saucer." The sheriff calls the nearby Roswell Army Airfield. This is significant. In 1947, Roswell wasn't just a random base. It was the home of the 509th Bomb Group, the only atomic bomber wing in the world. These were the men who dropped the bomb on Hiroshima. They were the elite. If anyone knew what a weather balloon looked like, it was them. The base sends their top intelligence officer, Major Jesse Marcel, to the ranch. Marcel inspects the debris. He loads it into his car. He drives home. He is so amazed by the material that he wakes up his son in the middle of the night. He shows him the memory metal. He shows him the purple hieroglyphs. He tells his son, "Look closely. You will never see anything like this again. This is from another world." Marcel was an expert. He had seen weather balloons hundreds of times. He knew what radar targets looked like. But he swore, until the day he died, that this material was alien technology. On July 8, 1947, the U.S. Army did something unprecedented. They issued a press release. The public information officer, Walter Haut, typed up the statement and sent it to the wires. The headline in the Roswell Daily Record the next day screamed, "RAAF Captures Flying Saucer on Ranch in Roswell Region." The story went global instantly. The Army, the most powerful military on Earth, had admitted they had a spaceship. But then the phone rang. General Roger Ramey, stationed at Fort Worth, ordered Major Marcel to fly the debris to his office immediately. When Marcel arrived, Ramey took the alien debris into a back room. He then pulled out a tattered rubber weather balloon and a tinfoil radar target and threw them on the floor. He ordered Marcel to crouch down next to the junk. He called in a photographer. He forced Marcel to pose with the weather balloon. In the photo, you can see Marcel's face. He isn't smiling. He looks confused. He looks defeated. He knows he is being humiliated. 4 hours after the first press release, the Army issued a second one. Correction, it was not a flying disc. It was a standard weather balloon. The world bought it. The story died. The newspapers printed the retraction. For 30 years, Roswell was forgotten. It was just a footnote in history. But in 1978, the silence broke. Stanton Friedman, a nuclear physicist and UFO researcher, tracked down Jesse Marcel. Marcel was now an old man. He had nothing to lose. In a bombshell interview, Marcel went on record. He said, "The weather balloon story was a lie. I was ordered to say nothing. The material I brought to Fort Worth was switched. The photos were staged. The debris on the ranch was not of this earth." This interview reignited the fire. Hundreds of other witnesses came forward. People claimed they saw trucks hauling large crates. A mortician claimed the Army asked him for child-sized coffins. Others claimed they saw bodies, small gray beings with large heads, laid out in the base hospital. The Roswell Incident stopped being a story about a crash. It became a story about a conspiracy, a government hiding the biggest truth in human history. In 1994, the U.S. Air Force was forced to conduct an internal audit to find the truth. They declassified thousands of documents from 1947, and they found the smoking gun. They admitted they lied. It wasn't a weather balloon, but they claimed it wasn't aliens either. It was Project Mogul. In 1947, the Cold War was just starting. The Americans were terrified that the Soviet Union was building an atomic bomb. But the USSR was a closed country. You couldn't fly planes over it. So, how do you know if they test a nuke? You listen. Project Mogul was a top-secret program to launch massive trains of high-altitude balloons equipped with sensitive microphones. These balloons would float in the upper atmosphere, the sound channel, and listen for the shock waves of a Soviet nuclear test thousands of miles away. The Mogul balloons were huge. They were made of polyethylene, a new strange plastic material. They dragged long tails of sensors. Crucially, the radar targets used to track them were built by a toy manufacturer in New York. The manufacturer reinforced the balsa wood sticks with tape. And because wartime supplies were scarce, they used tape that had decorative purple flower patterns printed on it. This explains everything. The memory metal, polyethylene plastic, the hieroglyphs, the purple flower tape on the balsa wood, the secrecy? The project was top secret priority 1A. It was more secret than the Manhattan Project. Major Marcel didn't know about Mogul because he wasn't cleared for it. So when he saw the wreckage, he truly didn't know what it was. General Ramey couldn't tell the press, "We are spying on Russia," so he invented the weather balloon lie as a cover story. It fits perfectly. It explains the debris. It explains the lie. But it doesn't explain the bodies. What about the alien bodies? The Air Force claimed they were just test dummies dropped from balloons. Skeptics say witnesses were confused. Believers say it's insulting to mistake a dummy for a biological entity. The physical evidence is gone, but Roswell changed the world. Maybe we want it to be real because the alternative, that we are alone in a cold universe, is too depressing. So if you ever visit the crash site, ask yourself, do you trust the official report? Or do you trust the man who held the medal and said it wasn't from this world? I am your host. Keep watching the skies. Subscribe.